go over from our Sounders into the from our Storm into the Sounders segment of the show, and we had that really exciting week last week with the Open Cup, with Andrew Thomas's extension, with the win over Portland. And then we get kind of a mid to mediocre clunker of a week. So we'll get into it. May 15th on the road at Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake, the top team currently in the Western Conference of MLS in terms of points. So not an easy feat. And the Sounders have struggled historically at Real Salt Lake anyway on the road there. The Sounders lose this one by a score of 0-2. No player of the match when we get shut out. That's just how it goes. This one was tough. It got physical. It got chippy a little bit towards the end of things. Seattle they had opportunities and they weren't able to convert. I mean, really since the Philadelphia game when they had so many opportunities and beat the Union on so many counters, the Sounders have gotten back to a struggle in terms of the opportunities and the pressure that they've generated. So there's that. And not a lot to say about that one. And then they returned home on May 18th for the second time that they've hosted the Vancouver Whitecaps this year. The first one, an ugly loss. Seattle had to deal with red cards, and it was frustrating. It was just kind of seemed like a really low point for the club this year. And then we get this one, which didn't seem like a low point for a large part of the match. It was a 1-1 draw. And the final player of the match for Jordan Morris, 1 goal, 3 shots, and 88% passing. Morris scored in the 8th minute. The Sounders had a lot of strong pressure early into this one, and like fresh out of the gate within those 8 minutes where Morris scored, and they largely dominated this match until we got into extra time. They dominated for 90 minutes. Then we get into the late part of it. Nuhu concedes a foul that gives Real Salt Lake a free kick. And then after that free kick, he's called for a penalty on a handball shortly after. And Ryan Gauld of Vancouver, wearing the captain's armband, scores this one, and it results in split points. There was a very controversial non-reviewed, non-call of a handball on a header from Jordan Morris that was aimed towards goal. Javon Brown of Vancouver handballed in terms of his arm got on it. A ball that was going straight towards goal, and it wasn't reviewed. It wasn't at all checked in the 80th minute. But then this Nuhu handball was, and it was reviewed a handball after VAR review. No explanation given. So that was frustrating. If you go up 2-0, it changes things a lot. And even if somehow Vancouver gets a goal, they still have to come back if they want to draw. And instead, we've got split points. But at the end of the day, I say you just got to be better. You can't let a call affect the match, or calls affect the match. You have to be better than that, and the Sounders have not been that. So we look over directly into some injury-related news here. On the 17th, we learned that Leo Chu will miss 3 to 4 weeks after suffering an adductor strain in the loss to Real Salt Lake on Wednesday. Chu suffered the injury around the 17th minute, planting his leg awkwardly after he had made a cross. He did stay on the field for a few minutes after this, but he was removed in the 22nd minute. This is this is the second injury of the year for Chu after he missed 5 games with a knee tendon strain. He's played in 7 of the club's 13 matches this year with a goal and an assist. And it has shown some good play on the left wing position that he's got, but just, you've missed 5 games, now you're going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. Really unfortunate for a guy who has really wanted to, I think, solidify a position and earn some more starting minutes here. Just, with really bad luck with these injuries, he hasn't been able to do so. So other few injury-related notes here provided by Brian Schmetzer. Obed Vargas, dealing with a calf injury, was held out of the RSL match. Same with Raul Ruiz-Diaz, who was dealing with a foot injury. They were able to play against the Whitecaps. Josh Atencio, who's dealing with a hamstring injury, missed the Vancouver match, but said it would be a miracle if he was able to go on the U.S. Open Cup match against Phoenix Rising on Wednesday. But he is likely going to be available for selection against St. Louis City on the road this upcoming weekend. With some other team-related notes that generally relate to games that were played over the past week, On May 14th, it was announced that 21-year-old midfielder Georgie Minanogu was added to the Sounders roster on a short-term loan alongside right back and former University of Washington player Kalani Kosarienzi. Ahead of that match against Real Salt Lake, roster rules do dictate that players can be signed to 4 separate short-term loans during which they can appear in 2 regular season games before they need to be offered a full contract. So I should check this, because the ruling is if Minanogu played against Real Salt Lake, I got to remember this off the top of my head. If he played against RSL, we'll just get this information so I don't have to say if. Georgie. He did play. So Georgie is now still eligible for 2 more call-ups, but could only appear in U.S. Open Cup matches. Got it. So he can appear on Wednesday. Got it. Okay, understood. I mean, with the way that Georgie's played, I wouldn't doubt that he gets offered a contract. He's been an exciting guy in the ball, but we'll have to see that. So the Sounders currently sit at a 3-win, 6-loss, 5-draw record with 14 points on the season. That's good for 21st overall in the league standings and 10th in the Western Conference. Looking ahead, 2 matches this upcoming week for the Sounders, 1 in MLS regular season play and 1 in U.S. Open Cup play. The first one, May 22nd versus Phoenix Rising at Starfire with a 7:30 p.m. kickoff. That is the U.S. Open Cup round of 16. And then May 25th at St. Louis City is a 5:30 p.m. start on the road that is going to be broadcast on Apple TV and MLS Season Pass. So, I mean, when we look here, at St. Louis City, they were such a large talk of the league when they came in with how much they succeeded. We look at them this season in the Eastern Conference. No, they're in the Western Conference. I'm sorry. They're just the place ahead of Seattle in the 9th spot in the Western Conference standing. They're not faring too much better than the Sounders. 3-win, 3-loss, 7-draw record, 16 points, 2 points ahead of the Sounders. I wouldn't really say a bunch of better form than the Sounders. The Sounders have 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss in their last 5 matches. And St. Louis City has 2 draws, only 1 win, and 2 losses in their last 5 matches. Those 2 losses coming back to back. So we'll have to see regarding that.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey. So where are you going to watch all of the Sounder away games this year?
Away games for the Sounders. Since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here, if that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea. Go Sounders. Hope we see you all here.